The difference between palatable and palpable is more than a phonetic trip hazard. It's the semantic equivalent of mistaking Linehan for Lineham, or indeed of conflating a good joke with a bad punchline. My fondness for such verbal nonsense stems not just from the fact that yesterday I finally became the chorus or the punchline of the Beatles song When I'm 65. It was 64, or I'm adding another year as well, or academic affectation. I was accused by, I think it was Alex Belfield who told me that my stammer was an affectation. It isn't. It's real, as indeed is my propensity towards malapropism. But I think really the point is that one should have a recognition that language can, at its best, lift us out of the parochial and point us towards the universal Catholic in its truest sense of the word, and so to the moment of genuinely religious Catholic proportions. The Catholic Church, under the newly elected Pope Leo the 14th, is not merely paying polite tribute to its Eastern roots, but embracing them with a sincerity and symbolism that may prove historic. Orthodox churches from Istanbul to Addis Ababa have responded with uncommon warmth, and indeed formal delegations are expected at the inauguration ceremony this Sunday, with Patriarch Bartholomew himself speaking of a new era of bilateral relations between East and West. From the first moment that he stepped out onto the loggia of St. Peter's, Pope Leo signalled a ministry rooted in peace, dialogue, and what he called the disarmament of words. In a media landscape often addicted to controversy, his invitation to journalists a couple of days ago was radical in its gentleness. Say no to the war of words, disarm language, and you disarm the truth. And he made this joke in English at the beginning about people who applaud at the beginning of a session. You have to wait and see if they're going to applaud at the end. This alone would suggest a theological continuity with Francis, but Leo is also showing signs of something distinct, an ecclesiology that looks east, not as an appendage, but as a co-equal. And the very choice of the name Leo evokes Leo the 13th, the pontiff, who in 1894 wrote Orientalium Dignitas, defending the dignity and the autonomy of Eastern Catholic rites. It's a name with a purpose. And this week's Jubilee of Eastern Churches has therefore taken on a deeper resonance. The Coptic liturgy held beside the tomb of Francis was presided over by Patriarch Ibrahim Sedrak and included a moving invocation of Egypt's legacy as a land of saints, theologians, and martyrs. There was a wonderful little animated film that I drew attention to a short while ago about the modern martyrs of Egypt. Cardinal Gugarotti, the prefect for the dicastery of the Eastern churches, declared to the assembled faithful, "This is your home," and his remarks are more than symbolic, they're structural. A deliberate restating of the Catholic Church's commitment to unity without uniformity, forming the sui juris nature of Eastern rites. And from the Ge'ez rite of Ethiopia to the Byzantine rite of Hungary, the message was clear. These churches are not guests at a Roman banquet, they're co-heirs. The ecumenical patriarch Bartholomew was notably swift in his endorsement. He hopes that Pope Leo would attend the Feast of St. Andrew and perhaps even journey to Nicaea for the 1700th anniversary of the Council. These are not empty niceties, they're gestures of theological depth. Nicaea, because it's the site where East and West once spoke with one voice. And I made a video about this a short while ago. I will edit it and get it out at some point while I was traveling around the Asian side of Turkey, where Athanasius defended the full divinity of Christ and laid the foundation for a shared creed. Pope Leo's decision to root his pontificate in that tradition is a reminder that doctoral orthodoxy and ecclesial diplomacy are not mutually exclusive. The major Archbishop Shevchuk of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church declared that Pope Leo's opening words, "Peace be with you," were received in Ukraine as a blessing. Zelensky's conversation with the Pope has already resulted in practical consequences: the call for a 30-day ceasefire, formal invitations for papal visits, and renewed emphasis on repatriating the deported, the stolen children. And likewise, Pope Leo's remarks about Gaza were pointed and sorrowful. The embrace of Eastern Christians is not only theological, it is political, pastoral, and prophetic. The Augustinian roots of the new Pope run deep. He's repeatedly affirmed that the Church is fully such only when it truly listens, and this listening under his pontificate extends beyond the boundaries of the Latin Rite. Therefore, there's a number of people who tell me that I should keep calling the Catholic Church the Roman Catholic Church, but that's not what it is. It's Roman insofar as there is a Roman Pope, but it is not exclusively the Latin or the Roman Rite. And Pope Leo sees synodality not as bureaucracy, but as ecclesial breathing, a listening that allows unity to be built through attention, not imposition. Indeed, Mar Alapat of the Syro-Malabar Church was one of several Eastern leaders to highlight the Pope's long-standing involvement with Eastern communities, including his service in Peru, his dicastery experience, and his preference for walking alongside the poor and the marginalized. What Pope Leo is proposing, gently but unmistakably, is a renewed sense of, a renewed vision of Catholicity, not simply Roman, but universal in the sense the Creed intended, one holy, Catholic and apostolic. We're not there yet. There remain wounds, grievances, dogmatic disputes, historical schisms too complex for sentiment alone. But Leo's pontificate has begun with a notable shift in posture, one that looks east with affection, with admiration, and most importantly with intention. And in his address to the media, Pope Leo warned against a Tower of Babel of ideological noise. His alternative is not silence, but Pentecost, many tongues, one Spirit. And that Spirit, it seems, is finally bringing East and West back into conversation, not merely about shared history, but about a shared future. This is not a palatable ambition, but a palpable one, and it's actually begun.